Hello and welcome to Talk Wordy to me. For the next few minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that, you're going to be entertained by the dulcet tones of myself, Dzintra Sullivan, an international best-selling author from Australia, and Stephen Ross, fabulous author from Canada, of course, as the case may be, who just released his book yesterday. Congratulations, Stephen.
Thank you, Z. I was very happy to get that released. It's my third one, and hopefully it's worth a read.
Sound of Silence Screams for those playing at home, a book of poetry. Cover is gorgeous, words are amazing. Go check it out. QueerIndie.com is one of the most fabulous. Drew is a founding member of Queer Indie. And I just, something about the QueerIndie.com, the books that I find on there are just so vivid and fabulous, and the stories are just delightful. I recommend everybody goes to queerindie.com and go check out what's up on the screen and support the authors that are involved with it.
Absolutely. AC, of course, likes to be referred to as Drew. So just for shortness sake, we'll just go with Drew for the rest of the episode. So I did not like Drew a picture, but Drew the person.
You said AC Merkel, and I would have gone AC Merkel. But, maybe it's an Aussie-Canadian thing. We'll have to get Drew to clarify that perhaps at another time. The book that I want to talk... Sorry?
I said Canadians speak English and Australians speak Australian. That's the difference. I mean, we all know that.
I wouldn't start. I just wouldn't start that argument with me. I damn well speak English. I think sometimes, mainly. I don't know. Anyway, Her Name is Murder series. Her Name is Murder. The cover alone of AC Merkel. I'm going to go Merkel because you seem to look like you knew what you were talking about. You said it with confidence. So
I don't know anything.
I'm going with this. AC Merkel. Her Name is Murder. The cover is beautiful. The cover is just delightful. AC Merkel creates characters that you'll love by infusing stories with empathy, magic, wonder, music, and inclusivity. God, that's a great word. It's such a good word, inclusivity. I did say that right, didn't I? Yes, I did. I did. I swear to God, I did. Which I love. I love the fact that there are writers out there that are breaking free of what used to be the rules, what used to be the way things were controlled. We live in such a society that's so, it's complicated, but it's also not complicated in itself. Everybody deserves representation, and everybody needs to, in order for a book to be representative of the world around us, it needs to include everybody that you can find, and the myriad of characters in our societies is endless.
Absolutely. I mean, the blandness of setting all the same characters and all the same type of people in a book, it's something that it's a little tired. It's nice to see the whole of humanity encompassed. Every single different possible type of person in a book.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. And I'm a bit over reading, the small town romance, full white, everybody's straight, everybody's got, 2.3 kids and a dog, white picket fence. Mildly annoying with the Karen next door neighbor, but apart from that, it's all very bland. It's very vanilla. And I mean, okay, vanilla's fine. It's a great flavor. It's a base flavor. I love it. But there's so many more flavors in the world that you can enjoy. And I love when you come across characters in stories that add a flavor that you didn't expect. For example, off story of AC Merkel, but one of my favorite characters that I think outshone every other character in this particular series is the True Blood, or the Sookie Stackhouse series, where Lafayette is the most flamboyantly gorgeous character I've ever come across. And Charlene Harris, who created him, is just mind-blowingly talented. And these are the characters you're going to find, or characters like this, when you go explore the queerindie.com website. The cover is gorgeous, as I said. I'm sorry.
The covers, and every single cover in that series is just stunning. I mean, it's something I've never really seen before. From the font that's used, like the very unique fonts, and every single book has a different look to it, but it's different but the same, if that makes any sense. Very striking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first, the half face on the cover, and really that eye looking at you, the murder in sort of I think it's like a 20s type font. It's just fabulous. I love it.
It does feel very 1920s. Yeah, it does give that feeling to it.
And I do believe the first book right now is free. So, you know.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
I do believe so. Yeah, I think so.
Get book one free.
I do believe so.
Okay. Everybody listening to this, get your ass over to Amazon.com. Look up Her Name is Murder by... You're so confident with that name. I'm loving it. AC Merkel. And you don't even have it. You buy it. You just click it. On Talk Wordy to me and my other podcast as well, which is Halo Scott. God, we love Halo Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, AC Merkel. We love, nothing but love for Halo. Ash Knight, and this guy's name always gets me, but Dr. Mario Del Olio. Please tell me I don't get that wrong, Mario. You know you love me. You know you love me. But literally, you open up Queer Indie.
You might have got it right, I think.
I hope so. You open up queerindie.com.
You got the doctor part right.
And there's all these beautiful... the doctor was right. And, you know, and there's stories that are inclusive of gender fluid, intersex, lesbian, amorous, queer, transgender. You'll find it all there, which, you know, I love reading those sorts of stories.
Absolutely. Do you want to read, or do you want me to read the blurb for Her Name is Murder?
Yeah, absolutely. All
right. Here, the series, of course, Her Name is Murder series. It's Her Name is Murder. Book 2 is London Calling. Book 3, Accessories to Murder. And Book 4, Magical Manhattan. And blurb is as follows. Magical musician Murder Laveau is tired of running. She's been running for almost 500 years. When you don't age, people take it personally. She's returned 40 years later to her favorite borough in New York City. Her hope is to finally settle down and hide her secret by taking the identities of falsified heirs. A public attempt on the life of her rock and roll alter ego, Lady Dreamscapes, and a chance meeting of immortals in need threaten to take away the life she holds so dear. Can New York police detective Grant Noble III solve her mysteries in time to save her, or is it him that needs saving? Levi Esmond is a protector of the ageless, sculpted from clay by murder's mother to be her companion. No one knows how tied the fates of the protectors are to their charges. Levi wants a good book and a hot guy. Maybe, just maybe, he'd like to be a real boy. Tress is also a protector, a trans woman and white-out Victorian goth who has learned to excel at glamours and wards. The curse of the ageless prevents her from physically becoming a woman permanently. She's devoted her life to helping trans girls in need. There's only one problem. She has yet to figure out how to save herself.
If I click this 10 times, I'd one click it 10 times. I just click.
Yeah, no adding to cart, just buy now.
Just buy it.
It's a very eclectic set of characters. Yeah, absolutely. Very eclectic. Like, everybody has a very distinct background and reason for being. So that's something that I always look forward to in a story. The idea of a bunch of characters all being the same clone, just it turns me off a bit.
It's not a true representation on the world that we live in.
No, absolutely not. It's the year 2023 now. I almost said 2022 because, well, you know, I'm not always the swiftest around, but it's the year 2023. It's yeah. You didn't have to agree there.
Well, like at my work, everything's I'm lucky I'm still in this year. A little bit, only a few hours,
On top of that, Drew also has the Witch versus Witch series, or book. Sorry, not a series. That's a standalone. There's a little blurb on that one too, if you want to read it.
This is a paranormal romance novella. Look, everybody knows I paranormal romance. I write paranormal romance. I love paranormal romance. The freedom that you have when you're writing is endless. It's limitless. It's completely a free for all, and I adore that about this genre. So as soon as paranormal romance is written in there, and then you mix it in with colorful characters from all sorts of different corners of the world, it's just got to click. It's just a click. I can't help it. It's what I do. Okay. So when these two meet, all hell breaks loose. City, country, metal. Pharaoh worships the goddess nature. Light. Serena. It has to be. Is from a power in darkness, blood, and death. They're fighting over a boy, but not like you'd think. Adric is the chosen one. Each supposed to be fulfilling the destiny, securing Adric for their side. Neither expected to catch feelings. Are there possible odds to try and balance their attraction with their duties? Can they rise above the legacy their parents left them? Welcome to Burn and the Apocalypse. Well, one click that one too. Just one click it, pop it in there. The cover is gorgeous. Look at that cover.
Absolutely.
That's a stunning cover.
It really has the Welcome to Birmingham, Alabama, and the Apocalypse. That I love that. I just love the way that's set out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, get out, give them all a shot, give them a read. I think everything there is absolutely worth seriously looking into and buying ASAP. One click. And Drew's been nice enough to give us a blurb of his book. Her name is Murder, which we'd be quite happy to read for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give it a crack. I'm sure I will not do it just justice as you do, but I will give it a crack. I'll read in an Aussie accent, so you just have to suffer with that one.
Will there be plenty or copious amounts of oi?
Oi.
No
oi.
oi?
Oh, mate. Mate.
Come on, mate.
I'll try and slip in a mate every so often. All right. So this is, and as we've said before, we say it on every episode that we do, this is freely given by the authors involved. We do not steal, take, or snoop around where we're not wanted. This has been given to us by AC Merkel to read on this show for this purpose. And just a reminder, this book is free at the moment, so go click it and get involved in this story. All right, especially if you love what we're going to read you. Her name is Murder. Are we ready, Stephen?
We are absolutely ready. You ready? I'm ready. You're ready? Ready.
All right. Okay, ready. Grant offered Murder his hand, and as she got out the Chevrolet Tahoe. Anne, Ira, and Levi exited the rear of the vehicle as Grant handed the valet attendant the key. As they walked to the restaurant's front door, they fell into a V formation. Their faces were focused and determined, except for Levi, who let out a sound that could only be described as a squeak. We're doing the thing! Murder grinned. She knew exactly what he meant. The focused walk to battle, often referred to by pop culture geeks as the power walk. The determined core cast, known to some as the Team Murder, made an entrance into the restaurant that none present would ever forget. Their now very public magical reputation preceded them, and none dared challenge them on their path to their mission. Well, no one but the mayor's security, who checked for their names at the front entrance of the restaurant, and the hostesses and host, who took their coats. The hostess led them past the table of patrons, who all stopped eating to watch the local celebrity and her entourage be guided to a private room at the back of the dining hall. Mayor Eric Adams stood, as did Agent Carter Smith. There were a few other well-dressed cabinet members seated at the substantial table. Murder recognized one of them as the press secretary and another as the lieutenant mayor. Most importantly to Murder, she recognized the mayor's significant other, the extraordinary Tracy Collins, administrator for the New York City Department of Education. She had exchanged many emails with this tireless woman while preparing to open Uterp. Uterp. Oh, I'm sorry. My Aussie thing's going to get in the way. Uterp school. I'm sorry, AC Merkel. You love me. It's okay. Her support and advice was proven indispensable. Grant noticed that murder had frozen, likely lost in a thought or a memory. He leapt into action. Mayor Adams. He held his hand as the mayor shook it. Former Detective Noble. The mayor shook hands with each of them and introduced Miss Collins and the other guests. Please have a seat. Murder and Grant sat across from the mayor. The small private room made for an intimate experience. Small talk was traded for several minutes before the mayor got down to business. I'm so sorry about the quid pro quo qualities of this arrangement, Dr. Noble. I want you to know that Tracy and I both harbour a great amount of respect for you and your philanthropic endeavours in our community. Murder nodded. I understand. Despite the good that all the good that I've done, I had to bend quite a few laws just to be here. I've never had any choice. People like myself have had no option. Hopefully that can change now. Grant and I have put up some resistance, and for that we would like to apologise, but understand I cannot provide an unconditional endorsement. I need to hold the right to withdraw my endorsement if the program isn't as described. It was Miss Collins who responded. I told him you'd say that, she said. She beamed. Adam nodded. I wouldn't have it any other way. When the news broke that the magic was common knowledge, I panicked. But then I spoke with Tracy. She mentioned you immediately. Honestly, the thought of enlisting you to help was the first thing that actually calmed me. I was even happier to hear that Grant would also be involved. He looked Grant in the eyes. It takes a lot of guts to stand up to your peers when they aren't doing when they aren't doing things the right way. I want to be your role of an official position in pardon me. I want your role to be an official position in my cabinet. I'm still working this out, but does this mean you'll be a pensioned employee of New York City again? Grant nodded. For now, I'm only committed to 90 days, but I appreciate that you want to offer that to me. It feels redemptive. The mayor leaned back in his seat. Carter, the paperwork, please. I apologise for putting this business in the middle of dinner, but I don't think we should wait to form this alliance. I would like the committee to get to work as soon as it is feasible. Carter handed a folder to each of the nobles. Inside, Grant found his 90-day contract to the work of the mayor's office. Murder found her ratified citizenship document and a new notarized diploma, PhD music education. She looked at the latter document and then at Adams. This is from Berkeley Music School. Ms. Collins reached across the table and touched Murder's hands. I reached out to a few of schools, and they all wanted to take credit for you. Murder looked at the document again. Does it matter that I didn't study there? I mean, I'm happy to claim this, but Adam leaned forward. What matters is that we keep you and your prep schools accredited, which we will do. As for the press conference, I'll introduce you. You just tell them what I told you a minute ago. Be yourself and field a few questions. I would also love a little magical showmanship. You're in the face of the committee. Grant will be the liaison between the magical community and my office. Carter can get things done on the national stage. It's a partnership that I can only see yielding results. Servers bring in platters to the table. Adam grinned. I took the liberty to order dinner in advance. The server placed a vegan eggplant and a smoked tomato dish in front of Murder, who nodded in approval.
Chapter 8. Front Steps, City Hall. Mayor Adams stood at the podium in front of a crowd of journalists. He held up his hands, indicating he was about to begin. The crowd went silent. The press invites only read, Magical Manhattan Briefing. I want to thank you all for coming out here on such short notice. As you're all now aware, a world of magic has existed alongside ours for centuries, maybe longer, often coexisting, other times clashing. Sometimes the discovery of witches has led to horrific violence. I want to declare New York City to be a safe place for people with magical gifts. We don't want our city to become the next to be famous for witch trials. I posit that New York City should continue to be a mecca for cultural acceptance. Most of you should already be aware of Dr. Murder Laveau Noble, founder of UTERP Women's Magical Advancement Center, which provides underprivileged girls with opportunities to attend performing arts schools. She's also the founder and teacher at a similarly named UTERP Music School in Soho. Oh, and she's a 486-year-old former immortal who is gifted in magic and famous in her own right for her genre-bending, violin-infused rock music. I'd like to invite Dr. Noble to talk to you about my new Magical Manhattan Welcoming Committee. Murder walked to the small podium and shook hands with the mayor. He walked away, leaving her alone. She leaned into the microphone. The truth is, I am Iron Man. There was a silence for a moment until the corners of Murder's mouth curved upwards. The rows of reporters and government correspondents laughed and clapped. I won't lie. I didn't come into my meeting with Mayor Adams this evening with a whole lot of hope for this idea, this project. My friends, family, and I drove here and to the restaurant tonight. As we passed the Empire State Building and the Chrysler, I was reminded, as I am every day, I reside in this grand city, just what New York City stands for. We are a boiling pot of so many kinds of people. For centuries, my kind have hidden in the shadows. The Tories' siege of Times Square, though tragic, has given us all a rare opportunity. If we squander that opportunity, then those people, some of whom I once knew and cared about, died in vain. I've never felt so exposed as I have in the last 3 months, but Mayor Adams and the lovely Miss Collins welcomed me and my little family with open arms this evening. The welcoming committee that has been suggested is still a concept in its infancy. Infancy is the thing that now weighs on me too. You bring someone or something into this world and nurture them and hope they grow. The mayor has my support. And my husband, Murder paused as the crowd laughed. In his endeavor to bring more unity, compassion, and understanding to the boroughs, I give my endorsement of the concept. And as anyone who knows me will expect, I will watch with great interest as the idea of welcoming magic to the city unfolds. The audience clapped. Some cheered and whistled. I offered you all to take a chance to ask me some questions. As many of you know, I seldom do interviews. I also rarely involve myself politically, except that maybe my donations, my charity organization tell some story of my leanings. Since I'm a teacher, to make it easy for me, I'll ask that you raise your hands. Several hands went up immediately, and Murder pointed to a woman on the front row. I understand the mayor asked you to head the committee and you declined. I was asked to be on the committee, not to be its head. I did indeed decline. My school and my charitable organization come first. And your music? I knew that my reluctance to sacrifice my music career might be seen as selfish. I believe that my success in that field directly ties into the excitement young women have for coming to my school. It's like taking guitar lessons from Jimmy Page. Before anyone asks, no, I didn't learn guitar from him, only magic. She winked. But I did give a few lessons to Eddie Van Halen. The audience laughed, and Murder picked another person who had his hand raised. And your husband? Former Detective Grant Noble will be on the committee? I'm assuming that he'll have your ear on issues and you his. That is correct. I don't know yet how many more people will be involved or what their backgrounds will be, but yes, I will indirectly monitor the committee, and my continued endorsement will depend on what Grant tells me. Full disclosure, since I couldn't get identification with my actual age on it, I have had to go to do some things outside the confines of law to get my school and charity off the ground. I hope that we remove the barrier for others like myself to contribute to their communities. I risk sounding like I have a superiority complex when I say that my experience and my resources are above average. But I have worked hard for what I have and lived hard for all that I know. She pointed at another raised hand. Rumor has it that the Lady Dreamscape's stage name was retained by your former record label. Is this true? Is accessories to murder indicative of a tonal shift, or was that move out of necessity? There's a tonal shift in the music, but I felt that was going to come out either way. As for Lady Dreamscapes, the moniker served its purpose. I am out and no longer have any need to hide behind an icon. Hands filled the air again as she finished her statement. You're known to be a feminist. How do you feel about the issue of abortion? Well, that escalated quickly. The reporters laughed. Murder's brows furrowed. I usually abide by the tenet of politics and religion aren't good dinner conversation. But what the heck? It's obvious that I'm pregnant. I have wanted this to happen my whole life, but it seemed it wasn't possible. I would not get an abortion, but let me rephrase. I am pro-woman. Bodily autonomy is of the utmost importance. I would not get an abortion, but let me rephrase. I am pro-woman. Bodily autonomy is of the utmost importance. Murder shook her head at this understatement, which she was sure would be clickbait in a matter of hours. I would not get an abortion. She selected another to ask a question. What are your political ambitions? She laughed. Me? She flipped her hair gracefully. Grant, who she could see in her peripheral vision to her right, nodded his approval of her Rita Hayworth Gilda reference. After winking at him, she continued, I don't have any political ambitions. She looked out past the reporters to the city skyline beyond. But if New York City wanted me, I suppose that in the future I could be persuaded to serve her. Many of the reporters clapped and cheered. Murder's eyes got wide. She hadn't meant to get anyone's hopes up. Anyone want to change the subject? Her voice quivered a little, which incited laughter. Tell us about Lucy Hunter. Murder sighed. It's complicated. I loved her ages ago. I had to leave her here because I was discovered. I was hurt, and my self-healing from the curse of the ageless occurred in front of a witness. Lucy loved this town, and she wouldn't leave. Eventually, I realized I loved New York City too, and returned. Lucy's art will be up for auction next month, with proceeds going to cancer research. The details of that are on my new accessories website. I was referring to the alleged thrupling in Hawaii and her moving in with you and your husband. Murder laughed. As most of you who have seen my social media profiles know, I am a B in the LGBT. Yes, through magic, Grant and I helped Lucy feel young and well again for a short time. And also, yes, the rumor is true. I would rather not give you yet another clickbait headline. I loved her deeply, and Grant and I are both sad that she's gone. Murder hoped the next question would be about the welcoming committee. She selected another reporter. Your goddaughter received one of the first coveted scholarships to your new school. Is that fair? Murder frowned. She didn't want to see T to be a news item. She would need to measure her words. She took a brief moment to compose her response. Tiana Miller was my student before she was my godchild. She is very talented and is a model student of color who also excels in math and science. Her single father is a hard-working New York police detective, and he was exceedingly qualified for consideration. I simply put her name in the hat. She had no advantage further than that. I have a panel who picks from the applicants, and she won her scholarship fair and square. Do we have any other questions about the welcoming committee? Is Anna Laveau really your sister? Is she magical? Where was she the last 2 years that you lived in New York City? Will the committee offer naturalization to your former ageless partner, Levi Esmond? Anne's story is hers to tell. She's not my sister, but we are blood relatives. Levi and his husband Ira do have meetings scheduled with immigration officials in the United Kingdom. Murder saw the press secretary check her watch. That was a signal to wrap things up. We have a time for a couple more questions, she pointed to another reporter. The song Great Detectives, is that about Grant Noble or Teddy Van Der Ark? Murder stood speechless for a second. That's, you know good and well that the song isn't about Teddy. You've asked a complicated question that will likely take the rest of our time and leave us on a sad note. But okay. I said I wanted your audiences to get to know me, so here I am. She held her hand out to the man who had asked the question and used her telekinesis to take his wireless microphone. It crossed the 30-foot gap and floated up the stairway in a matter of seconds. Many of the reporters clapped and cheered. She paced the stairway, landing as she continued. The reporter didn't complain. His logo was on the microphone, visible to everyone. I will also answer this question because my time with Teddy is somewhat relevant to this conversation about the committee. She sat on the top step, stretched her legs out, and crossed her ankles. Please excuse me for sitting. I've been on my feet all day. Teddy was indeed a great detective, in a sense. I don't like to criticize the dead. They can't defend themselves. He died the same way he lived, in the line of duty. Teddy was by the book to a fault. Rather than love me as I was, he wanted me to also be by the book. I didn't know him well enough to know if he could handle the truth of who I was, and in retrospect, I don't believe he could have. He became obsessed with me becoming a UK citizen. I couldn't explain my lack of a birth record, and he made it his mission to make me legit. Despite my resentment over him threatening to turn me in, I know he was a good man. I only wound up involved in the case he was working on because I was out with him when he got the call that ended his life. You were with him when he died, but you ran? I did. He was gone. There was no changing it. And I couldn't help his charges from jail. The woman and the child he died protecting. Well, I was left to finish the task. She held up her hand in front of her face. Her fingers crackled with static as a fireball formed. Oohs and ahs emanated from the crowd of reporters. She shook her hand to extinguish the flames. The woman and her daughter left with me and Levi that day. I got them false documents in France where they got to live happily. I assume, at least, ever after. Thank you for most of your questions. She reached for Grant. He came to her side and helped her stand from the top step. As they walked toward City Hall, a chorus of unanswered questions rose from the audience. She stopped and turned back to the podium. She held her hand up to ask for the floor once more. The press quieted for her final statement. I want you all to come back in 6 to 8 weeks. We can again discuss the welcoming committee and what has transpired. I'll ask the mayor to invite the same group back, except maybe the abortion guy. I can give you updates, and we can see if the endorsement holds. Again, thank you.
It's an engaging story right from the word go, murder. Murder is her name.
Very much so. As I read that, I put myself in her shoes standing in front of this crowd of just basically almost like a TMZ situation, just asking questions that aren't relevant. Trying to get the juice or get the dirty details or get anything salacious, and it would be a very uncomfortable situation. That was the excerpt.
It's it would be a very daunting, and AC Merkel certainly gave that impression as we were listening, or as I was listening to you read it, that to have that sea of people in front of you and reporters, and they're all biting at the bit to get something from you that they can use as clickbait, that they can pop up on their social medias or on their newspapers or on their news feeds to get the clicks, the looks, the views, whatever else. It would be a very daunting scenario, and it was put across very clearly in the writing. Very well done. Very well done. Sure. I like it.
Just some of the issue of abortion popping up, relationship questions completely irrelevant to the topic at hand. And it was handled I found that her dialogue, her speaking dialogue, was handled so well, with minimal internal monologue going with it. But I'm very impressed.
And AC Merkel, Drew, is diving right into very topical subjects that we all live with at this point, day to day, which I love. The inclusivity of the community, the abortion, the body and not autonomy, all of this sort of stuff that we as women, as people, as humans on this world deal with. We either deal with it or we ignore it. But her name is Murder, written by A.C. Merkel, is taking it on face first, and I love that. But doing it in a way that is engaging.
Yeah, you're using the fantastical element of the ageless and powers, but being able to tell a very human story.
Yeah, I love it. It's a very clever way of doing it. I think you can get to a lot more people by doing it that way. AC Merkel, you are impressive.
Extremely. I'm very impressed. The writing style, the tone, it put me there. I was really impressed. Very happy with that. Happy with my purchase now.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. Me too. It's down in my books. And the covers are just gorgeous, people. Go have a look at them. The covers are just glorious to look at. My favorite, the one that catches my eye straight off, is Witch versus Witch. The color, the pink, the skull, but it's very, they're beautiful. AC Merkel. Of course, this is from queerindie.com, a founding member of queerindie.com. Look out for, go and check it out, because you look out for authors, not only AC Merkel, incredibly talented, but Halo Scott, Ash Knight, Titi Banks. Oh, here we go. Name Dr. Mario
Dell'Olio.
Dell'Olio. Oh God, Mario, I'm sorry. Dr. Mario.
It's a couple. Dr. Mario Dell'Olio. There you go.
I'm just going to say Dr. Mario, because I don't sound like an idiot, because I'll get it wrong. These are fabulous authors on queerindie.com, and honestly, you should all just scoot your little tushies over there and go clicking. You will not be disappointed.
It's a terrific site, terrific authors. I'm glad that we've been able to feature a couple of them, hopefully more of them in the future.
Absolutely.
So that I'd say that pretty well wraps us up for today.
We're good. AC Merkel. Her name is Murder, is the book that we've been reading from today, which is part of a 4-book series, of course, as well as other books written by AC Merkel. If AC Merkel comes back and says no, it's AC Merkel. I am totally.
Well, I don't know. I heard Merkel and I think Urkel, so I'm thinking. I'm hoping it's Merkel.
Merkel. It sounds flashy. Merkel. I like it. It's flashy.
So once again, her name is Murder. Book 2, London Calling. Book 3, Accessories to Murder. Book 4, Magical Manhattan. And then there is the standalone Witch versus Witch. Give them all a read.
I've got 2. I've got 2 in my box. In my box right now, I've got 2. I'm sorry, it's in there. It's done.
There we go.
I couldn't stop with 1. I had to shove in 2.
Oh my!
All right, we're good.
Yes, we've gone beyond the normal Ken here.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble. All right, that is it. Thank you, AC Merkel, for letting us dive into your books today. We hope that we've done you justice. People, her name is Murder is free. Go click. Just go click. Don't even just hop off the podcast now and go click the book. Go do it right now. Now. Click. All right. I am Dzintra Sullivan, international best-selling author, and you are who?
I am Stephen Ross. Not quite international best-selling, but hey, I am an author. Read my stuff.
You're an author. And of course, The Sound of Silent Screams was released yesterday. Stephen Ross's third book, second poetry book. Go grab that one too. You know, click, 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 people. Just get your clicky fingers out there, and we love it. All
There
right.
we go.
Until next
All right.
time.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show with me, Dzintra, and thank you everybody for listening to us.
All right. Until next time. Bye for now.
Bye.